Okay, let's go over how we do a 2020 Kia Stinger. So I'm gonna just clean this glass first. We've already prepped it. So I'm gonna now just put some slip on there and just squeegee it. Left to right to left, doesn't matter, but pick one direction and stick with it. I'm gonna squeegee the sides, make sure I get all the contaminants off. And now I'm gonna apply some slip. Again, I want plenty of slip. I'm using a bottom load method of putting film in here. It's not a two-stage, so I want plenty of slip behind the door card. I'm gonna go ahead and peel my liner off. I spray the air, try to get some dust away. And when I pull the liner, I'm pulling straight down. And if you can see here, I'm going to go with a lot of slip as well. Now, we use Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo. It works well for us. It's what we've used for the last many years. So now if you notice, I'll have really good control. And sometimes the film can get away from you a little bit. So just make sure you get nice control of it. I'm going to start with the far corner and get that side down. Now, if you notice, I am always very mindful of the top of the film. I don't want to touch any of those plastics because that could be contamination, and contamination is the worst enemy when it comes to window tinting. So I'm going to just nicely shove that in there. Now, this can be difficult for some people. This is why I use a lot of slip. I always rather have more slip than less, and I'm going to let that top of the film roll over my fingers. If you notice, I am not going to roll that film over until it falls into place below the glass. If you notice, that top edge can carry a lot of dust, and so I never want to drag my film across that. I make sure that my film is way down below the actual top of the glass. Once I get it all flat, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust. Now, if you can see, I'm trying to shimmy it because sometimes you'll hit a dry spot, and so I'll shimmy the film in place. There's a few things I want to be mindful of. I just want to make sure that my top edge is exactly where I want it, and I need to look from the outside to make sure that I'm covering light left to right so that there's no visible light. I'm going to go with my first pass on my first squeegee. It is not to lock the film in place. It is simply to get rid of some of the water so I can see what I have in front of me. I'm going to go ahead and wipe my glass a little bit. It just gives me better visuals on what I am doing. As you can see, I'm just double checking that my glass is well covered 100% by the film. And now I'm going to bring over my Blue Max, and I am going to lock that in place. So Blue Max is going to be my final pass. If you're good and you're experienced, you can always go to the Blue Max first, but I always teach that you should start with the lighter squeegee first. I'm going to go ahead and sweep my sides once again, especially on this Kia that does not have much room near the A-pillar. I have to use my car to get that water out. Once again, I'm just wiping kind of the area that I'm working, wiping my glass. I'm going to bring my window up, and now, because I'm doing a bottom load, I don't have a gasket in the bottom, so I don't have to fight that. I'm just going to squeegee straight down and get that water out. Now, as you can see, there are fingers present in this glass, but it's not too much curve. So we're using Solar Effects film, which we trust the adhesive, knowing that we're not going to have fingers coming back up. Certain films you might have to shrink on the outside first, and if you're doing a two-stage, you're definitely going to want to shrink before you install. Now, I trusted what I had, but I wanted to just be sure. You can never be 100% sure, and you always want to get as much water out as possible. So I'm going to just go ahead and do a second pass on my Blue Max. That's just to get more of the water between the film and the glass out of there. One more time, raise my window back up, and I'm just going to squeegee straight down and get all that water out. Now, it's nice to use a door cover here. We're just using plastic bags. You don't need anything fancy, but if you can protect the door card of your client's vehicle, you're always going to want to do that. It's just more professional, and you don't risk potentially damaging anything on that door card. So I'm just going to clean my glass now, and I'm just looking, as a final inspection, I'm just looking for light gaps as well as contamination. I'm going to go ahead and put that sweep back in place. And as you can see, my GoPro is not very well situated here. Apologies for that. I'm going to pop that door panel back in place, and then I'm just going to close it up. It just has a Phillips screw. It goes right behind this door handle. It's a single screw. Now, with some cars, you can remove just the top and that screw alone. In some cars, you might have to take the door panel apart entirely. So in this case, that's it.